Hello, faithful, and welcome to another edition of White Throne Metal Radio's Top 10 Songs. I am your host, Keven Crothers, station manager for White Throne Metal Radio, staff writer for Heaven's Metal magazine, tongue-tied there, and host for the Throne Room podcast. Glad you've chosen to come back and join us again today. Gonna go down top 10 songs, 10 favorite songs from Christian metal band Bride. What can you say about Bride that probably hasn't already been written or discussed in 30 plus years of creating music, hard rock, heavy metal, groove, you name it. And they've done a vast, there's not only the collection of albums under the Bride moniker, plus Dale Thompson has done his share of solo projects and side projects, and that has only increased over the last couple of years between Perpetual Paranoia, The World Will Burn, there's a couple other projects that he's had going on, No Other God, just tremendous amount of output. And again, musically, it kind of covers the gamut in the hard rock realm of things. Today, we really want to focus in on the Bride records themselves. It is one of the larger catalogs that I have to go through, which makes it more challenging, but at the same time, kind of eliminate all the other stuff, but even still, it is quite a challenge. And how do you narrow it down to 10 songs? Because these are my favorites. And they may not be yours, but again, this is not designed to be some kind of scholarly overview of saying this is the best of the best of the best, something along those lines. These are my favorite 10 tracks. And hopefully some of my favorites are yours as well. I have gone through, I'm missing, I have hard copies of just about everything, but I am missing, I think it's 3 albums in a CD form. A couple of them I have, there were files sent to me for review that I have, and then there are a couple that I flat out missed back in the day, because there's a period of time for about 10 plus years I was really out of the scene, frankly. And so coming back in, trying to recapture stuff over the last 12 years or so, so basically from about 95 through 08, I was pretty out of it. I was doing pastoral work and other things, and I know I don't have everything that I used to have due to the great purge of 2000-2001, and that was a period of time basically I had to sell stuff, I had to unload stuff financially, and plus at the same time it was, who's going to care about this stuff? So with that being said, briefly, as brief as we can, this is going to be a little bit longer video because of the size of the catalog. The debut, Show No Mercy, this was reissued on CD in 2011 by Retroactive Records. The vinyl itself came out in 1986. This was the 3rd album or 4th album released on the Pure Metal label. And before that, of course, Bride were known as Matrix. And with that, the inner sleeve there, and the vinyl itself with the wonderful Pure Metal logo. This came out in late 86, if memory serves correct, third or 4th quarter of that year, after Messiah Prophet and Saint had already released Time's End. Great heavy metal cover, frankly. And then we get the shot of the guys on the back. And of course, we all know Bride is really the brainchild of Troy and Dale Thompson, brothers extraordinaire. Dale with his unbelievable vocal prowess, which just still is amazing to me. Troy Thompson, guitarist. What can I say about Troy? Not just adequate, exceptional. For someone who, if I remember right, he said, I never took a guitar lesson. I'm self-taught. So I'm like, he's covered so much ground musically that it frankly is pretty amazing to me. So Show No Mercy, the first album, the follow-up, Live to Die in 1988. This was the original on Pure Metal, the reissue on Retroactive, remastered. Fantastic stuff. The follow-up, the next to last album they did for Pure Metal in 89 when Pure Metal was owned. This is the original. This is a retroactive reissue, again remastered. These albums, at that point, Bride really were having terrible times with the record label. Pure Metal / Refuge Records back then was just not an artist-friendly place. The last record they did, which was End of the Age, featured 2 new songs. Frankly, one of them was one of the biggest, and we'll say hits. A huge hit with Everybody Knows My Name. An absolutely brilliant track on there. This was the End of the Age. That Pride, at this point, we're announcing we're changing our musical direction, and they showed that. Everybody Knows My Name, Same Old Sinner. Because the follow-up, Kinetic Faith, a totally different direction. The first 3 albums, traditional, classic heavy metal with a European flavor, frankly, that really just rivaled anything. I mean, people would ask, well, what do Bride sound like? They sound like Bride. Once they went and switched up their style, people would ask, what do they sound like? Well, they went for a bluesier sound here in 91, and that's where all of the Guns N' Roses comparison really was coming in, because when Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses hit in, 87, it was off to the races, and suddenly every record label in the world were signing bands that had this blues vibe. Aerosmith's resurgence. Then the Cult started changing their style to this hard rock, bluesy influence type stuff, and every band in the world, had this slide guitar, had just the bluesy vibe, and Bride shifted their musical style. Some would say they sold out. No, I don't believe Bride ever has sold out. That is a kind of a ludicrous statement. I still really believe that the mission of Bride, which was to share the gospel of Jesus, and with that, they shifted with the times to make their message relevant to the people that they were trying to reach. It didn't always, for those of us who were just fans, because we'd already been reached, sometimes the music didn't always reach us. So following up after Kinetic Fate, undoubtedly the most popular album in their catalog, Snakes in the Playground. I had a cassette of this as well, but I believe it got destroyed. But this was a Star Song issue. At this point, Star Song had been purchased by EMI Capital, and with that, there was also, quickly, a bonus CD that you could get, and I was given this, and it basically had a different mix for several songs, including Hired Gun. Just cool stuff on this bonus disc. EMI Capital bought Star Song, Sparrow Star Song, and what seemed to be, for the Bride group, as I understand it, they really wanted off of Pure Metal, but because it was kind of a dead end, frankly, it just was more than what I have time to discuss here. But with EMI Capital coming in and buying the label, as I understand it, the band felt like, hey, we have a chance now to actually make a bigger impact, and so with that, they stayed, recorded those 2 albums in inclusion to the next one, which was Scarecrow Messiah. Came out in 94, very similar to Snakes. Of course, after they ended up leaving Star Song EMI, all these labels, they all do the same thing. They do. Every artist, when you leave a label, what does the label do? Because they control your catalog, they try to capitalize on it. They release a greatest hits. And so Shotgun Wedding, just like End of the Age, this one I found, this came out in '95. Different mixes on here, and there were a couple others they released. Now, one of the first albums I don't have on CD, but I actually have gone back, I've listened to it, and that would be Drop. That came out in &95 on Rugged Records. I wouldn't say totally, but a different turn. Not as loud. They weren't metal at this point. It was more, we're a rock band. So the guitar was scaled back as far as just it being in your face. It had a different vibe altogether. Frankly, not the grunge vibe that I hear so many people complain about, but more of a rock band. Honestly, when I listen to it, I hear a few things here and there. I'm like, yeah, but more of a rock band. The grunge stuff really hit with the follow-up, the Jesus Experience, and 1997. Everybody was trying to kind of again move to change with the changing times. I don't have Oddities. I thought I did, honestly, but I don't have Oddities. I also don't have the next album, which everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but the metalheads chronically complain about. Fistful of Bees. Yes, it is definitely more like Korn or Limp Bizkit, so you have new metal, rapcore, whatever you want to call it. There's still some decent tracks on that album. I've looked trying to obtain a copy. I don't even have files of it, so I went on YouTube. But I listened to it, and there's still some decent stuff on there. After Fistful of Bees, we have This Is It. Came out in 2003. 2003, kind of a return to the more blues-based hard rock of Snakes in the Playground, Kinetic Faith. Was also reissued by Retroactive in 2010 with bonus tracks. And then another album was issued, which was Skin for Skin. Again, even a bit heavier than This Is It. Also reissued by Retroactive in 2013. Pardon me, 2013. Definitely a heavier sounding album. Then, honestly, after that they released what at the time they said was going to be their last album, which was Zarbama, a kind of an amalgam of rock, hard rock, some alternative, maybe industrial kind of sounding stuff. The track Industrial Christ and what have you. A really large musical palette was used on this release. Also, the last recorded material by Mr. Steve Osborne, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Steve passed away of cancer. Frankly, he was a phenomenal guitar player, a phenomenal lead player, and I'm glad I got a chance to see him live. I saw him at the second His Festival back in 1988. There are videos on YouTube. You can check that show out. My ugly mug from the back appears several times. Long blonde hair back then. There also were two more albums. One of them I completely missed, which was Incorruptible. Came out in 2013. Heard bits and pieces of that one. And then finally Snake Eyes, which was the last Bride album they've released. Came out in 2018. They're already talking that they've been working on more Bride material. I think at this point, Dale and Troy should just say, this is the last Bride album for now. We'll let you know later. Troy lives, I believe, still in the Midwest, in Kentucky. Dale has moved to New Zealand. But let's get to talking about Bride and the top 10 songs. Like I said, this is a much longer video. So, real quick, Scarecrow Messiah on cassette. as well as one of their demos. Now, before Bride was signed, they were known as Matrix, and this one was a later demo. I used to have The Fly Away and Forever in Darkness and All Hallows Eve on one of those early demos was one of my all-time favorite songs. But it ironically didn't make my top 10. Shouldn't have spoiled that, but I did. So let's get on. Top 10 songs. So coming in at number 10, off of Zarbama, When I Was a Kid. One of the last tracks on that album. It's straight up rock and roll. It is fun. It grooves. It rocks. It's a great song. When I Was a Kid comes in at number 10. Coming in at number 9, well, coming in at number 9 would be, I guess, one of the many tracks I could include off of Snakes in the Playground. But this one, honestly, I mean, that album had so many great songs to it. But I mean, coming in at number 9 is Psychedelic Super Jesus. And it is, I mean, how can you not dig that song? It's groovy. It's got that whole blues kind of vibe, but it's funky, and it just fit 1992 perfectly. Psychedelic Super Jesus comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8, also off of Snakes in the Playground, Would You Die For Me? That song hits you with so much groove, and the way the bass and the guitar and the drums when it starts. Des Dickerson did a phenomenal job when they were producing and putting that album together. It is a brilliant record, and the reason why, guys, the albums on EMI will never be remastered and reissued is because EMI Capital, their Christian division, whatever it is, they own the rights to those albums. And you pay a licensing fee in order to reissue stuff. So let's say, I'm just throwing numbers out there. Let's say it costs Retroactive Records, or Rox Records, $1,500 to license the Vengeance Rising record, or to license the Saint albums, whatever it is. EMI Capital, I'm going to guess, is it a $10,000 licensing fee? $20,000 licensing fee? I don't know. But the cost to license the product, to have it remastered, then you have to make it manufactured. I mean, even if you sell 500 compact discs, which is what you have to sell to make your money back, the smaller labels, guys, just aren't going to be able to do that. It's not possible. Which is why, unfortunately, the Bride material and White Cross is just never going to happen. Not until Dale and company, or Rex Carroll and company, own the rights to those master issues. Or do what Rex did. He re-recorded the whole first album, for White Cross. But I think most folks would love to have a remastered, but that's the financial reality of the situation. So I will, Would You Die For Me comes in at number 8. Coming in at number 7, off of Show No Mercy. I got to tell you, in 1986, when Show No Mercy came out, I played that record to death. It was one of my favorite. Show No Mercy and Time's End. Show No Mercy and Time's End. Brilliant stuff. It was, like I said, very European sounding. And number 7 is I Will Be With You. There are a few mistakes in that track. They, for whatever reason, couldn't get them fixed. Fine. I don't care. The song itself and Dale's vocal is off the chart. Absolutely off the chart. I was like, there were the honorable mentions off of Show No Mercy are numerous. But I Will Be With You edged out one of the other tracks as my favorite, really. But coming in at number 7, I Will Be With You. Coming in at number 8, the title track off the 3rd album, Silence is Madness. Again, a very European sounding metal track, ominous, very much so in the sense that, all kinds of atmosphere, and it's got a great chorus, a great riff and hook that I absolutely dig. A great album, a great song. Silence is Madness comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5 off of Live to Die, Heroes. Another epic song, edged out another track, again off of that album. Brilliant stuff. Great material. Heroes comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 off of Silence is Madness, Fool Me Once. Fool Me Once starts off in pure Bride fashion. Scream from Dale Thompson. It absolutely is fantastic. That's a song really that should get re-recorded. It doesn't need to be rearranged, but gosh, re-record that track. Driving, and frankly, it kind of has, I don't want to say it still kind of has a little bit of a bluesy vibe to it. It's not your typical heavy metal track, even though it's driving, it's fast, it's upbeat, and the hook is just brilliant. Fantastic song. Fool Me Once comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, off of Kinetic Faith, Hired Gun. I love that song. The acoustic version of that Bride bonus disc was even more brilliant. But Hired Gun, the Hope You and Jesus Have It All Worked Out, taking the tact of I'm the gunfighter, I'm here to collect a bounty, I hope you and Jesus have it all worked out. A brilliant metaphor and analogy, a great song. Bluesy, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. One of the best tracks Bride, I think, has ever recorded. Hired Gun comes in at number 3. Now, coming in at number 2, probably their most popular song, I would say, at least to a point. And I say that because it was everywhere. When there was a Christian music rock industry, it was everywhere. And it was off of End of the Age. I mean, how else can you explain Everybody Knows My Name? And the version that's on Kinetic Faith is not the same mix as what's on End of the Age. It's not. There are things I hear differently. I don't hear as much acoustic guitar. It's different. The version on End of the Age, oh man, fantastic. It's a great song. It really announced that Bride were truly changing, their whole music and method by which they were going to communicate their message. Everybody Knows My Name comes in at number 2. Coming in at number 1, the title track. Frankly, I had to think about this, and I already just kind of gave a good chunk of this away. I had to think about this because there are so many great songs. I mean, the honorable mentions list is long here, and this track is what got me hooked on Bride, frankly. So, Live to Die, the title track of their second album, is what comes in as White Throne Metal Radio's number 1. They're our favorite Bride track. Fast, heavy, driving, and of course, Dale's... Dude, your vocal on that song blows doors. Just brilliant stuff. Live to Die comes in at number 1. So there you have it. Our top 10 songs. How about some honorable mentions? How about some honorable mentions? How about No Matter the Price from Show No Mercy? The title track, Show No Mercy. Follow Your Heart from Show No Mercy, but it also was on one of their very early demos. Brilliant song. Brilliant song. Off of Live to Die, Hell No, great tune. Whiskey Seed, another Bride song that kind of had a little bit of a bluesy, struck me as a bluesy vibe back then. Off of End of the Age, Same Old Sinner, great song. Also off of Kinetic Faith, Troubled Times. I mean, Troubled Times, Mountain, Ski Mask, Kiss the Train. Oh my gosh, what a great song. Kiss the Train off of Kinetic Faith. Off of Snakes in the Playground, the title track, Rattlesnake, Fallout, Dust Through a Fan. How did that not get on my list? Brilliant stuff there. From, Silence is Madness, Evil Dreams, Under the Influence, All Hallows Eve, great song. Had No More Nightmares, but All Hallows Eve had some huge sounding drums on that album. Off of Zarbama, Industrial Christ, great song. We Are the People, another solid tune. I mentioned, when I was a kid, from Skin for Skin, the title track, Bang Goodbye. Oh, what a cool song. Super Ego Star, another great tune. Off of Scarecrow Messiah, Dad Mom, Murder. And off of, where do we got here? This Is It, Blow It All Away, Head Looking for a Bullet. It's a great riff. It's a great hook. It's got a solid groove to it. Another great song. Now, from a couple of the albums I don't have on CD. Hey, off of Drop. Okay, everyone rags on Drop. How about Thrill a Minute? Great rock and roll. How about Help? Another great rock and roll song. Both of those songs, they kick. Off a Fistful of Bees. Very different. But the track God, Bitter End, War, man, brilliant stuff. Off of Snake Eyes, The Painter, John the Baptist. There you have it, though. White Throne Metal Radio, our favorite 10 Bride songs. And let's go over them quickly. I don't want to make this video any longer than it already is. Coming in at number 10 was When I Was a Kid. Number 9, Psychedelic Super Jesus. Number 8, Would You Die For Me. Number 7, I Will Be With You. Number 6, Silence is Madness. Number 5, Heroes. Number 4, Fool Me Once. Number 3 is Hired Gun. Number 2, Everybody Knows My Name. And number 1, Live to Die. There you have it. Top 10 songs from Bride for White Throne Metal Radio. What are your top 10 songs? Put those in the comments below. They got a huge catalog, and it's a tough chore, I got to tell you.